Welcome to Sauti Ya Mama, the show about families and parenthood. We continue the discussion on postpartum depression. This week, we have Pasqueline Njau, a mother of two. Here's her story.
I am a wife and a mother to two beautiful girls. Kaki Osanjo, who is almost 7 years, and Amaya boy, who is 1.5 years. I am a lawyer by profession, and I am the founder of Calmant Foundation. I love being a mother. I love being a mother because I love the different personalities that come with, your children. My firstborn is very hyper, confident. She doesn't fear anything or anybody. My second baby is a bit shy, can be fussy sometimes, yeah. But I totally love being a mother to them. So, and now the reason why I founded Calmant Foundation is because I have gone through postpartum depression myself. And funny thing is that I actually suffered with depression after my second pregnancy. I went through a bad episode of postpartum depression with my second, and my first I was very much okay. And despite the fact that I believe there are other factors that contributed, I believe that majorly it's because, for my case, I feel like, with the first baby, everybody knows that you are very green in this thing. Eh? So everybody, your family, your friends are all there, just checking on you and everything. But the second baby, and especially if your first was okay and you went through it well, then the second baby, exactly, they assume, then of course you're good to go. You're well, and even if they check on you, just those ones for, just norm. How are you doing? How's baby doing? And of course, when you're struggling, in that kind of conversation, you really won't be honest enough to tell them how you actually do feel. So Did you struggle because baby was fussy? Or? Because baby was fussy. First, my baby, she's very fussy, even up to date. She can be. But then she used to be such a crybaby. She suffered colic, so it also contributed. And then we also struggle a bit with latching. So sometimes she'd be, like she hasn't fed well, so she's hungry, so she'll just cry and cry. And then, of course, now yourself, you're also struggling with sleepless nights because she's not sleeping well. So you're also not getting enough rest. And then you are also feeling a bit of fatigue, overwhelmed. And there's always that perception of when you give birth and you have a baby, you always feel like you're supposed to be a super mom. So you don't realize that you actually need to call out for help, like just take care of the baby, let me rest, let me do this and that. So sort of without knowing, it starts weighing you down. Before you know it, you are in a place where you don't understand yourself anymore, because depression makes you a totally different kind of person. You are, I would call it a dark space, where only you can understand where you are, and most people will not understand. And when you start changing, people start feeling like you are just changing, but they don't know that you're actually suffering. Because depression makes you struggle alone. I will not go out there and scream to everybody that I'm struggling. I'll just struggle in my small, when I'm in the bedroom, when I'm just in my space, that's when I will be real to myself in terms of how I feel inside. And the thing is that the people who will get the impact of what you're going through is the people who are closest to you. So if you're married, then it becomes your husband, or it could be your baby, because you are not okay, so you're not able to take care of the baby well enough. So for me, it was the biggest impact, I think, was on my husband. And it's because it comes with an expectation. We're in this together, so there's things that I expect from him. However, we assume that he should know, so we don't speak it out. And on the other side, he thinks he's doing his best. So, because you're not communicating, then he feels like you're not appreciating what he's doing. So it totally weighs you down in that you are in a space where you're not communicating enough, but you want some things done and they're not being done, and you just feel lost. So that is, I think, the space that I was in at that point. And
Could you give examples? Because you're very speaking hypothetically.
Okay. So what used to happen is, even with a baby, sometimes you just want someone to hold your baby and take care of the baby. But I will not pick it out, take care of the baby, take the baby. On the other hand, he feels like maybe he should just sit there with me and just watch me. And you know, for him, because he doesn't understand, the questions will be, what's up with the baby? You know, but I'm also struggling here with the baby. I also do not know what is wrong with the baby. And, you know, so he's doing what he thinks is help to you, but the kind of help that you need is not what he's actually offering. Then with the baby, because she was crying, then it would be, she's crying through. There's a time I remember she did not sleep until around 3 a.m. We were actually up with my husband. He was up and he was sort of, you know, he was just there. But I didn't feel, I don't know, I think because you're still struggling with yourself, you still don't feel like it's enough, you know, yeah. Later, of course, you're going to think, and you're like, oh, I think he was doing something. I think he was trying. But at that time, when in that dark phase, you really don't feel that. And
did you have a nanny then?
And I did have a nanny. But the thing with, when you become a mother, and especially because my children are like 5 years, they have a 5-year gap. So you start feeling like you're doing it all over again. So I was again feeling like I'm supposed to be doing it. Baby is crying, I'm supposed to be the one up helping the baby. You know, baby is not getting enough feed, and probably I'm trying to, you know, express, and milk is still not enough. I still, you know, you start blaming yourself. You start feeling like you're a bad mother because I'm supposed to be giving my baby enough milk. You know, I'm supposed to be doing this. But remember, I'm not okay, because mentally, if you're not stable and you're not okay, then of course it will affect other areas like milk production. So that happened to me. So the milk production, the latching was also a problem. So of course now again, baby is still not, you know, getting enough. But you do not remember that you have in fact, the only time I remember, I actually got to a point where now I started realizing I needed help, and not help as such. It was just take the baby. It was when during the day I'd be like, I'm so overwhelmed and I need space to go and cry. I need to just go to my bedroom and just close the doors and just cry. And you know, I want to cry because baby is also crying. So I want to give her away, because I feel like I also need my space to just go and, you know, just cry. And at sometimes even at night, you know, you just wake up and you cry, you know, just have those crying episodes. And, you know, at night, because I also didn't want, I don't know, you know, you sometimes feel like, because no one is understanding you, don't even want your husband to know that you've just been crying all over. So you just walk out and you come to the sitting room and cry. So anyway, so it got to a point where I realized I was not okay. Because you know, depression makes you, I don't know, you just can't, you're not yourself. So you actually know, at some point you'll get to know that you're not yourself, and you're actually at that place where you just need help. So I felt very desperate. And no matter how many times I used to call my family and friends, I realized that the kind of help that they were giving me was not, you know, they're not experts. So they'll probably give me a call, you know, but I need someone to probably come and do something. I don't know, there's something extra that you need, you know, in terms of help. So they're doing their best, but you don't feel it. So you probably need a professional. So it was not until a friend mentioned it and told me, you know, I think where you're going, I think, no, you're depressed. I was like, oh yeah, by the way I've been feeling, maybe I need help. And I was so desperate. I actually knew I needed help. So someone recommended a counselor, and I took myself to the counselor. And she was such a nice woman. She, you know, talked to me. And you see, she's a professional in that. So she was able to tell you, she told me, yes, you're depressed the way you're going. Yeah, as in from your knees, I can tell, yes, you're depressed. And this is what you need to do. And I was so desperate. So I was ready to take, you know, the advice as it comes. I was very cooperative. So I think that is what helped me. So slowly by slowly, I started recovering. And then after I recovered, I realized, you know, I want to understand what this depression is. Because the whole time, yes, once in a while you're going to hear about postpartum depression, but until it hits you, that's when you start you really want to understand what this is. So I did a lot of research around postpartum depression and these maternal mental illnesses. What are they? What happens to a mother when they give birth? And I got a lot of information from research. So the information that I got, I was like, this information that I'm getting, I'm sure it could also benefit someone else out there, a mother out there who is also not understanding what they are going through. So I just decided, you know, power social media, let me just open a page and just be throwing, you know, the information that I get, I just share with people out there. Then as I was sharing, I started getting feedback from other mothers. You know, from their inboxes, they're like, yes, I actually went through this. I actually had to go for medication for this. Yes, I struggled with this, and this is what I went through, you know. So they kept on coming to the inbox, and some of them will come and they are like, I'm going through this right now, where can I get help? And sometimes I started feeling inadequate because I want to send them for help. But remember, I'm a lawyer, I'm not a psychologist, so I really do not know what exactly they're struggling with. So probably a professional is best suited. But I was not very sure exactly the kind of help they need and the professional, the perfect person for me to, refer them to. So I felt like probably I needed to do more than just information, because no information, yes, I can tell the women who would get help from this, much more help from this, but I needed to do extra. And then I also realized that from the feedbacks that they were giving, because at some point I actually asked them, are you willing to come out and tell your stories so that you could probably help a mother out there? They're probably going through what you're going through. So by you giving your story, you're at least helping them know that they're not alone and this is what they're going through and probably this is where they could get help. But mental illness comes with a stigma around it. Not many people are going to be confident enough to come and say, I have gone through these episodes, because of the way people look at it. So most mothers, as much as they were able to come to our inboxes and say, they're not willing to come out and talk openly. They're like, I cannot do this. My husband is not comfortable with me doing that. So it was always about, what will people say about me? Because at that point, most mothers, the reason why I think it's not even spoken out as much is because most mothers have to put an act. You're struggling, but you do not want to come out and say you're struggling. You just want to be the perfect mom, exactly. And because you have not had so many mothers struggling, so you're wondering, why is it me? So if I come out there and say I'm struggling, yet other mothers are okay, you're going to look like a bad mother. You're going to look like, you're not enough.
How can you tell that maybe I just did a nap, I just did a good night's sleep, and I'll be fine tomorrow? How do you know you've crossed that threshold?
Sometimes, first there is the 2 weeks after childbirth. For most mothers, there's definitely going to be the baby blues. So it comes with fatigue, it comes with feeling overwhelmed. But experts say if it goes past 2 weeks, then you might be slipping into depression. And you need help. Sometimes you just need a bit of, like for me, I didn't need medication for, to get myself out of that. It just needs a bit of maybe, just counselor coming and telling you need to rest. You're not getting enough rest, which could be leading to that. You probably need to take your time off, just go take a stroll, 10-minute stroll, come back. You just need time off and you'll be fine. Again, if it has gone past a certain stage, then it has become now, it needs to be, you need to be given medication for that. So that is when the experts definitely have to come in to tell you, you do not need medication per se, you probably would do with a bit of help, like just this is what you need to do in your routine to help you recover. Others, if you're in a certain stage, then they're going to be able to tell you, you need medication for this. Yeah. So you need to go and seek help. You cannot just sit in the house and say, let me medicate myself. You can try. You can try to do, like if it's exercise, you can try to. But if it doesn't work, go seek medical attention, because it's only an expert who can actually advise you, give you the professional advice so that you're able to know in what stage you are and what kind of, treatment that you actually need, because people are different and your stage could also be different. So that is how you know. So after doing the research and everything and realizing that we needed to do more, and of course because now the initiative I was doing alone and now I felt like I wasn't going to be enough just doing it alone. That is how now I decided to found the Calm Mind Foundation. Calm Mind Foundation is calm mind. Because when you are going through that phase of depression and, the stress, the disorders, you sort of feel like your mind is not stable. Yeah, and all a mother, would want at that point is just a calm mind. That is just what you need at that point. So we felt Calm Mind would speak for what we are doing because we promote maternal mental health. And so we felt like, an organization would do better because then we can work with partners, we can work with other organizations and provide more sustainable solutions to the issues and to the mental illnesses and to the maternal mental illnesses. As opposed to, just an individual doing it. And the other thing that I realized is, I kept on asking myself, I have gone through pregnancies twice. I have delivered in 2 different hospitals, but I have never heard about these illnesses. I have never heard of a mental illness. Like when you go for your clinics, when you go for all those things, there is no one doctor who who mentioned, when they're asking about your well-being, they were just very physical, like, so how are you doing physically? They never ever asked about how are you feeling in terms of your mental well-being. Are you feeling overwhelmed? They just pose those symptoms to you. Then you're going to be like, oh yeah, I'm feeling like this. Or even just like, what do you call it? Just get a way of knowing whether you're okay mentally as well. They never ever, I have not, and even after I started my research, I have, research in several other hospitals. I'm yet to find one that offers that information. And when I spoke to one of the Lamaze experts, I was just asking her, when you're giving your Lamaze classes and your everything that you do, how comes you never mention about the mental well-being of the mom, just to prepare them? Like, even us, we don't have this information. So we are not, we don't have the information, so we are very hesitant to give information that we do not also understand as such. So I think, in my opinion, the health system has failed us. I feel like that is where you're able to track when the mother, when you give me information from the word go, and you tell me there's something called postpartum depression, there's something called, the postpartum stress, and, during your pregnancy, after childbirth, for those mothers who've lost their children, you need to know that you could go into this phase. So this is what you need to do to prevent yourself from going that. But should you feel like this, then this is what you can do, and this is where you can get help. Then that way, a mother is aware that if I'm going through this, then this is probably what I'm suffering from, and I can go to the hospital. In the same way that, when you're pregnant, there's certain signs and signs that you're told, if you feel like this, rush to the hospital, So you are aware of your physical. You have that information. But what about your mental well-being? Most women do not know. And that is why they suffer in silence. Because they do not understand what they are going through, and they do not have this information. So it should start from the health system themselves. And that is why I'm saying it's not something that a one person can do. It has to be in cahoot with so many other organizations, and of course with the government, because they're the people who are giving this primary care. They're the ones who are supposed to come on board and say, yes, the mental well-being of the mothers is equally important, and this is what we can do, and these are the kind of initiatives or programs that we can run to ensure that, the mental well-being of the mother is also taken care of, besides the physical. The physical is important, but equally the mental well-being is important. In fact, even if you go for these, there is normally the sessions, even with the doulas, all those during pregnancy, after pregnancy, all those sessions. These people, I don't know whether it's retraining that needs to be done, but something needs to be done to just ensure that every person who is just coming into contact with either every person, or at least let there be a specific place, that this help can be provided. So that's
for your case. After seeing the counselor, were you able now to speak openly with your husband, with your family, explain what's going on with you?
Yes, I was able to talk to them, especially for my husband, because remember, I was on my way out. By the time I was seeking help, I was already like, I don't think this marriage is working. Because
did you reach that point?
Yes, I was on my way out. I was actually, we can say that help came just in time, because I felt like, he was just not supporting enough, he's not understanding what I'm going through. This is a person who is closest to me. He should understand, he should do this, nini. So when that was not coming, then I felt like, I don't think we really have a nini here, so I should just be out.
How old was baby then?
Baby was around say 5 months? Mm-hmm. Yeah, around 5 months. So after now I sought help and all that, I came back to the house, and, I just told him we needed to talk. We need to have a talk, and because he knew, I already told him, me, I think I'm on my way out. So I told him we needed to talk. So we had a very lengthy conversation, me just trying to tell him this is what I'm going through, and this is what I'm feeling, and I have seen a counselor, and this is what, I've been told, it's depression, and this is how I can take care of myself and all that. And from that time, he was very supportive. I think it's the information that is lacking. Because as soon as someone understands what you're going through, then they understand that you have not changed. It's not you. It's not intentional. If you've changed, it's not because you wanted to change for the negative. It's because you're suffering. So it came in handy a lot. I think it's just the information that you need. Because as soon as I had the information, and I stopped feeling guilty and feeling like a bad mother, because the guilt is what makes you not seek help. You start blaming yourself for everything, and you're wondering, how do I tell people I'm going through this? And if I tell them, how will they look at it? But the moment you accept that you are not okay, and you need help, and you get the help, and you get the advice that you need, it was a lot much more better. for me, it was really not, I think it had not gone to another, I really, because I was able to get myself without medication. For other mothers, though, they're not as lucky, Some of them, they have suffered with the depression until a point where, because they're not getting the medication, it is now gotten to the psychosis stage. Psychosis stage is when you now become completely nuts, as in you don't even know and you're not yourself completely. And as I was doing my research again, I realized that infanticide there's a criminal act known as infanticide. Infanticide is when a mother murders their child within 1 year post childbirth. So they consider it as 1 year because during that 1 year, your hormones are still not okay, your hormones are not balanced, you might be suffering, struggling in terms of emotions, hormones, and all that. So they call it infanticide and they give a lesser sentence. So instead of being murder, it's called manslaughter. So it's looked at as manslaughter. And I realize there's so many infanticide cases in Kenya. But you see, people are not talking about them because when you kill your baby, the first thing that as a human being, as a person I look at is, you are a heartless mother who kills their baby, How would you take, whatever it is you used to kill your baby, how would you do that? But it's because you cannot blame a layman because they do not understand, they do not have this information. So to them, they're not looking at it as a mental illness that this mother is suffering from. And probably what they needed before they got to that stage is help, which they did not get. So by the time they were getting to the psychosis and to a point where they're even killing their own children, they needed help before they got there. So they did not get help, they did not get medication. So that is where they, found themselves. Whether you're first time, second mom, first time, it's your first time, your second time, your third time, you're bound to feel a bit of, there's changes that take place in your body. So sometimes you're going to feel fatigue and overwhelming feeling. Some of it is normal. That is what we call the baby blues. So if it's baby blues, then it's normal, it's bound to happen because of that. You now have a baby, they also have needs and you have to, help them. So there's the baby blues. If after 2 weeks, after giving birth, you still feel like you're not, a bit settled, you are tired all the time, you're finding yourself with crying episodes, you have a feeling of, harming your baby, there's signs that show you that you're not okay. There are those ones that could be normal, but there are those ones that you're able to probably tell you're not yourself. So what you can do, one, for mother, you have to realize that it is okay and it's very important to have rest. And what happens is when you have a young baby, the moment you have a baby, they come with their episodes of crying because they're going to have to wake up more often, at night and all that. And of course, you're not used to that kind of a routine. So of course, you're also going to feel a bit, you're off your routine. So it is going to get to you at some point. So what you need when it gets to that point, you need to accept that you need help. And by help, I mean you need to know that you're not a super mom. You need someone to come and just hold your baby as you rest. If it's at night that you're not able to help to rest, then during the day, find yourself time to rest. It comes in handy. It's very, very important. It sounds very simple that you need time to rest and sleep, but the impact that it has on you if you do not have enough rest, trust you me, as in you're just going to understand why it's important to rest. Then the other thing is it's very important, it's okay to ask for help. That is one thing that as mothers we do not, accept. You always feel like you're supposed to do everything for your baby. Ask for help. You need someone to come and, just help you with taking the milk from the fridge and warming it and doing that. Ask for help. You want someone to come and hold your baby as you do something, go shower, do something. It is okay to ask for help. You're not a superhuman being. You need time to rest. You need time for yourself. Ask for help. And then of course with the help and with the sleep and all that, you should at least be able to get, you should be able to get through. But if again you realize that after 2 weeks, you're not feeling like you're okay, that is a point where now you need to see a counselor. You need to talk to a counselor, someone who can tell you if you're feeling a certain way, this is normal, just do this and that. This is not normal, you need medication. And this is where you can get medication, because counselors, again, will not give you medication, but they can direct you to where you're going to get medication, to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. So seek help. Seek help. It's very, very important to seek help. Because again, sometimes as mothers, you go out there and you seek help from family and friends. You know, sometimes you're going to tell them, you know, I'm feeling tired. They could help you. Talking is equally important, by the way. It's also a part of therapy. When you talk how you feel much better. But it's not always that talking will help you. And some people, as much as you're going to talk to them, they're not experts. So they might not give you the kind of help that you actually need. So that is not enough. If you're sick, you know, you talk to people, you go for your stroll, you take your time off, you're trying to sleep, you're okay. But you still realize you're still not, you know, still not okay, go seek medical attention from a counselor or from a psychologist or from a psychiatrist. Accept. And mental illness is an illness like any other. That is one thing that we struggle with to accept. That, you know, when you talk about depression and, you know, people are going to be like, you're mentally ill. You know, the perception that comes with mental illness is those people who are collecting things uko nje. So when you tell people that you're struggling with a mental illness, they're like, what? You know, as in, it's okay. Yes, exactly. You look so normal. You've just been doing quite well, you know. So what exactly is your problem? Because some of these mental illnesses, by the way, people from outside will just not tell. You're the only one who understands what you're going through. Yeah, and it's someone who's depressed is able to hide very well, as in, because even if I tell you, you will not understand what I'm going through. So there's no, I don't have to tell you, it's okay. I'll just go back to the house and, you know, just continue with my life, you know, just with the depression and crying episodes and everything.
We hope these 2 episodes have encouraged a mother who's going through postpartum depression, or if you do know somebody who's going through it, what steps to take. Thank you for watching Sauti Ya Mama. See you next week.